Penguin Random House Audio presents The Secret Language of Dogs, Unlocking the Canine Mind for a Happier Pet. This is the author, Victoria Stilwell. I dedicate this book to my father-in-law, Van Eidenzeiler Jr. Your kindness and devotion will never be forgotten. Introduction. For centuries, scientists believed that only humans had emotions and conscious mental processes, whereas animals were purely automated beings with no psychological processes of any significance. This belief was firmly entrenched until modern science challenged it. Fascinating new research suggests that animals' mental abilities are similar to people's, depending, of course, on what a particular species needs in order to adapt and survive. We live in an exciting time of scientific research and discovery. The last 10 years have seen an explosion in the study of canine behavior and cognition, thanks to universities and research centers around the world. The minds of dogs are being explored like never before, and the findings are proving once and for all just how intelligent, emotional, and complex dogs are. Dogs have coexisted with humans for thousands of years, and as they have adapted, so has their ability to communicate with us. By paying close attention to our vocal and physical language, dogs have evolved a rich social intelligence and a physical and vocal language as complex and subtle as our own. Like humans, dogs communicate consciously and unconsciously, using body and vocal signals that reflect what they're thinking and feeling. These signals communicate intent and ensure dogs' personal safety by affecting behavior in others. Understanding what your dog is saying is the key to building a strong relationship. But not all language is easy to read, and some subtle signals are hard to interpret. Gestures or actions that we assume mean one thing can actually be the dog telling us something completely different. Understanding and communicating effectively with your dog is vital for helping him learn and strengthening the bond between you. And along the way, you'll find that canine language is as beautiful as it is complex. This book will help you to not only understand how your dog thinks and feels, but also appreciate his needs so that he can live confidently in your world. Understanding and teaching your dog. Building a secure bond, communicating effectively, and understanding how your dog perceives the world will help you teach your dog successfully. And while this book attempts to interpret the many intricacies of canine language, there will always be behavior that is harder to define or explain. We're now realizing, thanks to years of observation and scientific study, not only how incredible dogs are, but also how important it is to treat them with kindness and respect. For decades, dog training has focused on punitively forcing dogs to obey, which has prevented them from truly learning, thinking, and making their own choices. Harsh training methods have produced a population of emotionally stressed dogs that display worrying and sometimes dangerous behavior. Fortunately, the positive teaching movement is fast gaining momentum, and as more people choose humane, fear-free techniques to teach their dogs, this in turn encourages learning, builds trust, and enhances confidence. Dog lovers all over the world are discovering that teaching humanely is not only fun, but also enhances their dog's natural learning abilities and strengthens the bond between them. The problem with punishment. Punitive training is based on an outdated theory that incorrectly assumes dogs need to be shown who is alpha, the boss, or pack leader. People are led to believe that dogs display dominant behavior because they want to be at the top of the family hierarchy. While groups of dogs do form a social hierarchy, the myth that dogs are intent on achieving a dominant status over humans has pervaded the dog training world for years, with unfortunate consequences. If people think their dogs are trying to dominate them, then people are more likely to dominate them in return until, according to the theory, their dogs learn their place in the pack. The resulting confrontation damages the human-animal bond, inhibits a dog's ability to learn, and encourages aggressive behavior. In any event, the intricate planning needed to prepare a strategy to achieve this mutiny is something that even dogs, with their high level of intelligence, just can't handle. How do we know this? The secret lies in the cerebral cortex, the layer of grey matter in the brain that covers the cerebral hemispheres and is responsible for brain function, including sensation, voluntary muscle movement, thought, reasoning, and memory. A dog's cerebral cortex is not as intricate as a human's, so dogs can't strategize with such complexity. Techniques that traditional trainers use include devices that hurt the dog to curb unwanted behavior, such as choke, prong, or shock collars, and training methods that intimidate and frighten the dog, including physical punishment and restraint techniques. However, science is clear on the ineffectiveness of these techniques. Studies have shown that when a dog is punished by being pinned down on his back or side in an alpha roll, his body releases cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone produced by the amygdala, the brain's integrative center for emotions, emotional behavior, and motivation, that readies the body for danger. The high cortisol level overwhelms the dog's brain, interfering with rational thought. A person might think that when they hold their dog down and the dog gives up, that he's submitting or becoming calm. In fact, the dog is becoming more stressed and shut down. When a dog shuts down, he can't learn. So while punishment might suppress behavior for that moment, the dog learns nothing. He also becomes more stressed, and his behavior never truly changes because he's given no alternative choice. Unfortunately, many dog trainers have bought into the dominance myth. While these trainers vehemently defend their beliefs to justify the use of force, positive trainers like me regularly pick up the pieces that compulsion trainers, as they're known, leave in their wake, and it can take months or even years to rehabilitate dogs back to a healthy state. The evidence is clear. Fear will break your dog. The good news is that modern science has given us a nuanced understanding of how dogs truly think, feel, and socialize, which has shown us a new way forward. Dominance. Does this mean that a social hierarchy is unimportant to a dog? Well, not quite. Dominance is important in canine social relationships, but they commonly use dominant language to de-escalate a social situation. For dogs, a healthy social order avoids conflict and is flexible, depending on what matters to each dog. Rather than increasing aggression, dominant behavior evolved as a way to actively avoid it, because behaving aggressively can get a dog hurt and even threaten its very survival. Unlike humans in their dominant behavior over dogs, which can be physically violent, a truly dominant dog might exert his dominance by using non-violent behavior to diffuse a situation. A simple look, a paw touch, or a head draped over the shoulders of another dog may ensure that the dog using the gesture maintains priority access to resources. Social order works well in a multi-dog household if different things matter to different dogs. Ritualized greeting displays enforce which dog gets priority access over what resource: food, water, attention, a comfy resting spot. Some dogs, however, ignore social order and challenge the status quo. These dogs often have little experience of healthy social relationships, and they tend to use language that is psychologically intimidating and physically violent, causing disagreements and fights. So when a person physically punishes their dog to show their status as pack leader, they're not replicating the behavior of a truly dominant dog that could...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?